I'm still the same person I was. I still want the same things. Okay? Promise. Same Andy. Better clothes.
I like the old clothes.
What? Oh, I know. It's too late to be making a hot take on The Devil Wears Prada, but it's happening. The Devil Wears Prada is an early 2000s comedy/drama, and it shows. Our main character, Andy, is played by Anne Hathaway and is looking for a job after college, but comes up short as she can only get a job at one of two places.
Basically, it's this or Auto Universe.
So you don't read Runway?
No?
So she interviews at a fashion magazine, Runway, which is essentially just Vogue, which in both this universe and theirs is a prestigious place to work. And having a role like hers is highly coveted. It's funny how easy it seems for her to even be interviewed when she so clearly does not fit the bill. I highly doubt Anna Wintour has to humor anyone HR sends up. Speaking of Anna Wintour, this is basically who this movie's villain and Andy's boss is supposed to be. Anna Wintour, being the editor-in-chief of Vogue, is known for being a cold-ass bitch, but even she isn't that horrible. Meryl Streep plays Andy's boss, and she is absolutely not exempt from being a villain, despite what I'm going to talk about today. The character of Miranda Priestly is some of Meryl's best work. Miranda is awful, and don't get me wrong, there are times where I truly think she's just doing her job and has every right to make the choices she makes. Andy has no right to laugh at her boss in front of clients, and that dress down scene was pretty awesome. But the way Miranda treats her staff like they are beneath her is just wrong. The way she talks to some of these people, including Andy, is horrible, and she deserves for someone to stand up for her at some point. Andy was right to ditch her at the end. However, there's another character that's just as bad as Miranda in the movie, and that's Andy's boyfriend. Andy's boyfriend is named Nate. He and her friends, for that matter, are shitty people. Andy didn't like her job at first, and that's fine. They supported her hate for it and had her back when she decided to go for it anyway for her resume. But Andy starts to realize that if she's going to succeed or even survive at her job, she's going to have to adapt, and she starts to enjoy it. She realizes she has a lot of potential, and she becomes really good at her job and doesn't look down on it the way that she used to.
You know, the thing is, it turns out that there is more to Runway than just fancy purses. Look, here's an essay by Jay McInerney, a piece by Joan Didion, even an interview with Christiane Amanpour.
Looks like someone's been drinking the Kool-Aid.
What are you...
But that support she had from Nate and her friends is no longer there. Nate practically throws a fit when Andy starts to dress differently, and it no longer benefits him and his concept of her. Not to mention, he doesn't support her and her career at all. Andy has a fast-paced, demanding job, so she often works late and has to come in early. She's okay with this for a while because she knows in a year's time this will pay off, and it seems as though Nate and his friends have totally forgotten that fact. Nate acts as if it's a problem for her to be committed to a job that's going to benefit her in the future. Oh, and let's not forget, who else has a fast-paced, demanding job that often asks you to work nights, early mornings, and weekends, and holidays? Chefs, which is exactly why it makes no sense when Andy has to work late for a work event and Nate stays up just to guilt trip her about choosing her job over him. He doesn't really even have the excuse of it being his birthday. As a chef, he should totally understand having to miss stuff for work. My biggest problem with this is if they had framed this like he was in the wrong, I would be okay with it. It would make a lot more sense if Nate and Andy's friends were just obstacles in her journey and ultimately Andy ditched them for not being supportive, and Miranda for being unnecessarily cruel. Nate also actively sabotages Andy's career every second he gets. When Andy decides to quit a few months into her job, he doesn't just support her, he's relieved that she's acting like the Andy he prefers. And he's pissed when he finds out that she didn't quit at all.
A minute, you quit your job, but you're still working on the Twin Science Project? Well, that's big of you.
Andy even feels obligated to miss out on opportunities because of him. On the infamous day of his birthday, she turns down an opportunity to meet someone from The New Yorker in order to get to his birthday a little bit faster, only for him to throw a backhanded compliment and go to bed.
You look really pretty.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I don't know about you, but if this was my boyfriend and he found out I was missing a huge opportunity to do something that I loved just to get to his birthday on time, he'd tell me to turn around and go right back, because that's what you do when you're a supportive partner. Okay, I'm gonna give Nate a break. Let's talk about Andy's friends really quick. I have never seen a more ungrateful friend group in my entire life. Andy gives them gifts worth thousands of dollars and they immediately turn around and try to get her fired by taking her phone and throwing it around when her boss calls, like a bunch of children.
Yep, the dragon lady.
Miranda.
Let me talk to her.
No, okay, I need that.
I'll tell her to get her own scrambled eggs.
Lily, no, that thing. Look that thing up. It's gonna answer. It's gonna answer the top. It's gonna make. Give me the phone.
And it's not like they don't know how important her job is. One of her friends apparently knows more about fashion than she does.
That's the coolest fashion event of the year. Mm-hmm. I mean, who are you going to see? Galliano?
Yeah.
And Lagerfeld?
Yep.
And Nicolas Ghesquière.
Yeah. Okay, now you're scaring me.
And he says how coveted her position is. So why doesn't he defend her during all of this? You are complicit, sir. Okay, back to Nate. Remember when he got mad at Andy for taking the Paris trip that was supposed to be Emily's? Why did they direct it like Andy was some horrible person for taking it? She literally did not have a choice. And don't tell me that of course she had a choice just because Emily says so. No, she does not. We already know how Miranda is. You cannot say no to her. And Andy tried to refuse it. It was pretty much implied that if she did not take it, she was fired. There wasn't really a guarantee that Emily would have the opportunity to go at all. At the end of the day, Andy didn't really do anything wrong, and I hate that it's framed as if her growing and changing and being proud of her job was a character flaw. What was she supposed to do? Be miserable and struggle the whole time? As her friends, why would you want that for her? I think her lesson at the end of her journey at Runway should have been ditching a boss that treated the staff and herself horribly, learning to adapt and be proud of this new industry that she clearly has potential in, and ditching her horrible boyfriend and friends. But no, instead we have Andy leave because she doesn't want to let a career change her, even if it's for the better, so that she doesn't end up like Miranda. And we have her go back to Nate with her tail between her legs, happy to have her reference, but also ready to be the version of Andy he wants her to be. It's honestly pretty infuriating and leaves a very uninspiring ending. Andy didn't need any of that. And the worst thing of it all is, Nate couldn't even make a decent grilled cheese. Now that's just sad.